Welcome to the 4th annual 24-hour genealogy marathon. We are now in hour 2. We're just getting started. I'm Miriam Pierre-Louis, your host this hour. Our speaker is Daniel Horowitz, and his presentation is Spanish and Latin American Records on MyHeritage. Daniel Horowitz is the genealogy expert at MyHeritage. He was the teacher and the study guide editor of the Family History Project, Searching for My Roots in Venezuela for 15 years. If you'd like to see Daniel's full bio, please go to the FamilyTreeWebinars.com website. Please help me welcome Daniel Horowitz.
Hello, hello. How are you, Marianne?
Great. So glad to have you here, Daniel.
I'm very excited. And thank you. Thank you for having me, and especially with this subject, which is very close to my heart and to my origins. As you very well said, I was born in Venezuela. So I promise to all of you out there that I will bring a few records from that country. But before that, I would like to start right from the beginning and explaining a little bit about MyHeritage, because even though a lot of people already know, I really want to make sure always people are up to date. So MyHeritage started as a website for family trees. And today we have 89 million of those in our platform. Then we come with the records, and we keep adding more and more every week. Last count that I did just before starting this webinar is 19.4 billion historical records from all over the world. I'm going to show you today specifically the one from Spain and Latin America, but you should know that we try to keep a balance and publish records from all over the world all the time. And then also important to know that we have 6.6 million DNA kits on our database, all of them being allocated into genetic groups and ethnicity estimations, but more important, all of them getting matches between themselves. And that database is also from all over the world as our users, because MyHeritage supports 42 languages. So we are offering everything around the world in your specific language. And this is definitely one of the things that makes MyHeritage different from other companies out there. Besides the superior technology, and you don't need to take my word for it, this is what people that know a little bit more than me on technology say. I will try to demonstrate today on the search engine part how this technology is applied. We try to be friendly and approachable, and if we're not doing a good work, please let us know. We always like to hear from our users. But more important for today's lectures are the exclusive databases, because yes, we have the censuses and we have a lot of records that you can find in other places with some advantages of MyHeritage, but we also have exclusive records that are only available at MyHeritage, including those from Latin America. Those are collections that we have digitized, indexed, transcribed in partnership with different libraries and different archives from around the world. I can tell you specifically that some collections from Australia, from Europe, and also Argentina and Mexico, if I remember correct, are exclusives to MyHeritage. Now, what else do we offer you? Well, we offer you a free website, basic website that is, but still a free. You can open an account and just try and test how you build a family tree on MyHeritage and how you search for records and what type of information we're giving you. And then you will decide how to proceed. We also have a software that you can download to your computer or use it through the free mobile app. And MyHeritage will give you smart matches, record matches, and DNA matches. I will talk a little bit about those record matches through the end of my presentation. And of course, the technology to repair, enhance, colorize, and animate your family photos. But let's go straight to today's subject. And I don't know how many of you don't have an account on MyHeritage, and sometimes when you go to myheritage.com, you will not find easily a way to go to the search engine. So here is my first tip for you. It's not just myheritage.com/research, and that will bring you directly to the search engine. If you have registered, if you have an account with us, then you will see this top menu on your website, and in any point in time you can click research, and that will bring you to the search engine. So please give me some minutes. I would like to show you in detail how the search engine works, just to make sure that you take advantage of the Latin American records when you will search it. So you can see that it's actually just a few fields that we're asking you right there on the top. First name or first and middle name, last name, year of birth, and place. Now, whenever you're typing a first name or a given name, MyHeritage by default will tell you or will suggest you to use an exact spelling. And the reason for this is because if that is how you know the name of the person was written, most probably this is how you will find it. Now, on Latin America, they are the regular names that you already may know, but there are also some very weird ways of writing names. And again, having born in Venezuela, I will be the first one to recognize this. For example, and just to bring one from my childhood, I used to learn with somebody in the university, and his name was, her name, sorry, was Usnavi. And it took a little bit to understand that her name was actually after a ship that was at the moment of the birth at the docks in Venezuela. And yes, it was from the U.S. Navy, and the mother decided to name her child Usnavi, or U.S. Navy. So, yep, they could be very weird and I'm sorry to say almost funny names over there. So make sure that you have the right spelling for the given name. Now, you can also use like the first 3-4 letters of the name, and MyHeritage will take that as the start point. Something important to say here is that MyHeritage don't use wild characters. You don't need to type Dan and asterisk in order to find Danielle. Just Dan will be good, and then you will need to change, though, the exact matching, so you will take into account Daniel, Danielle with double N, with double L, L-E, and all the other terminations. Now, when you take out that, you will be able to choose if you want all the spelling variations, if you want to match initials. Maybe you know the person as Dan, but we found David, so the D will also work as the initial. Or if you want specifically the name that starts with those specific letters. Now, the last name or the surname is a little bit different because there are many ways already to spell that last name, even if we're talking about the most common name in Latin America or Spain. And I'm talking about the last name Perez. And as easy as it can sound, you may find it sometimes with an S or sometimes with a Z. And if it's a little bit more complicated than that, well, every record or every place may have a different spelling. So we have it by default not to be exact, but you can always change that as well with no problem. Now then, it comes for the birth year. And you may or may not know the exact year. You may ask that that year will be taken into exactly as it was, or you can say that you want to expand that 1 to 5 years before or after. So it will have a bigger scope on the answers. And then if you don't know, you can calculate it by saying how old the person was at a specific year. And that will calculate the year of birth. And the reason why we have chosen for that field over there is because we detected that most of the people will know more or less when the person was born. The next and the last field over there is place. And not necessarily it means birthplace. It could be any place related to the individual. It could be a birthplace, a married place, a death place, immigration, residence. And a place is not only a country. It can be a city. You can use Caracas in my own case, or you can use Venezuela. You can use also the name of the town or the area where the person was living. And you can use the option to make this a must or not, and we will bring you related records to that place. Now, this is not necessarily enough to find your individual, and that is why we offer you more options to add there. For example, the name of the father. And here you can type also the first name and the last name, and all the spelling variations that explain to you on the first fields will also be applied here. And then you can also add the name of the mother. Now, you don't need both. You can put either or if you know them, of course, the more information that you provide, the better. And I have today a very special record that I wanted to show you, talking about name of parents and Latin American, let's say, customs or usage. Then the name of the spouse may also be used. And you need to figure out, but you could only use the parents' names and the spouse name without the main name of the person, meaning you may not know the main individual that you're looking for, but you know that he's the son of such and such, and we will still find that record for you. You have here the death information, and just because we like to find dead people, and it's actually easier to find them dead than alive, but if that is not enough, we will give you a lot of other facts and options that you can use in order to make sure you find the right person. One more thing here is the note about the global name translation. And yes, if we are talking about Latin American records or Spanish records, be prepared because those are, yes, in Spanish. But you will not find a lot of difference between Spanish and English, right? It is the same alphabet after all. It's a Latin characters. But if the name of your relative is found in a different language, then it may be a challenge for you to find that, and MyHeritage has this global name translation technology that will help you with that. I will expand on this in a few more minutes. Okay, so this is how the results page look like. You will notice that you have a compact view right from the upper right corner, and this will allow you to see more records per square inch, I would say. So more information in less space will allow you to see more records by minute also, faster, and you will be able to clear those results faster as well. Then you will be able to identify the source, and basically we're talking about records that are coming from family trees, which may be the case in MyHeritage, or actual paper trail, or the actual records in the archives or in books. You will also have always on the top the search that you just did, and an option to modify those parameters or adding or removing them in order to change the results that you're getting. You don't need to go back to the home page in order to improve or try to add or find these people with different facts. You will see also on the side a list of the categories that MyHeritage has divided the records, and I will suggest you to start with a very broader search, and then if you want to close on the military or birth, marriage, and death or public records, then you click any of those titles and the results are going to be shown only for that specific category. Under the category, you may have either a subcategory or a list of collections. And I will show you also how to search in those specific collections related to Spain and Latin America, of course. Now, also here you will notice that you can add or edit the relevant details easily for other facts as we did before. And every collection and every category will have its specific details. For example, if you're looking for birth records, well, the death information doesn't do good because most probably will not appear on that record. So we have customized those other facts according to the category and the collection. The yearbooks, for example, also the death information is not relevant, and maybe even not even the birth information. The age will be, the year of birth will be to know at what level the person was studying at the moment. At any point in time, all the white area is clickable to actually see a record over there. So I still actually have to admit, try to pinpoint or to click exactly on the orange button, but there is really no need for that. Any area, white area is totally clickable and will take you to the record. You will see in the record the information that was transcribed or indexed, and this is just to be able to find the right record. In this case, I'm using as example the 1940 U.S. Census. You will see also information about the census itself, as you see below that, which is what it's called metadata. And if you scroll down, hopefully you will find the image of the record there. If it has more than one page, then you will be able to scroll or to use the paginator and to jump from one page to the other, because maybe you have family in other pages before or after the one that we brought you. And then you can open this image in a full window and you can zoom in, especially if you are like me, wearing glasses and getting a little bit older and needing to see things very zoomed in. But don't stop here, because below the image, we may also have more information for you. The option to suggest an alternative for any of the names that were written or transcribed on the image, and also the possibility to see the sort citation. Right there with the quote marks are, and the print will allow you to print this record. But let's assume for a minute that you find the right record. So now you may want to save this record to your family tree. And MyHeritage tries to do that as easy as possible with a big orange button right there. Now, there is a trick here, because in order to save the record, you must have a family tree on MyHeritage. Otherwise, where you're going to save the record? I mean, this is the record from an ancestor, and you want to save it on the family tree, right? So MyHeritage will detect automatically who the person in the tree is the one that this record belongs to. Sometimes, especially if you have the same first and last name, and by the way, in Latin America, it's very common to find the name of the kid same as the father and even same as the grandfather. So you will have up to 3 or 4 generations with the same first and last name. So maybe you will need to help us a little bit here. We will ask you to start typing the name. We will give you some options based on your family tree and the names that matches the criteria that you are typing there. But once you have selected the person who you want to save this record to or to attach this record to, we will present you with this screen on the left side, information from your family tree, on your right side, information from the record, and all you need to do is to click on the arrows to extract or to copy the information from the record into your family tree, with the option to show more fields if you need. Also the option to edit the information that you're copying and extracting. The way I do this, or the reason that I have found important to use this, especially with the name of the countries. If I have my family tree in Spanish, for example, instead of USA or United States of America, I will put Estados Unidos, which is the Spanish name for the US. So I can just click over there and edit whatever part of the information. With the month is a little bit easier because it's just a drop down, so you select the month and that's it. Now, always with a source citation, which is also editable, or you can copy and paste it, or you can just add any note over there. But the most important thing is to click on the orange button at the bottom in order to save all this information to your tree. Once you do that, you go back to the record, and if you notice on the top part of the record, we will find other possible records, not only for the person that you search, but also other people mentioned in this record. So if you find a person and it mentions the parents or the siblings, in this list of more records, we may find other places where these people are mentioned. Now, if we're talking about South America records, as I said before, they may be in English. In Spanish, and the characters will be the same Latin characters. But if you're used to other languages, or if we find your relatives in other languages like Hebrew, Russian, Ukrainian, or Greek, you may have difficulties to search and to find or to read those records. So you don't really need to worry, because you can put the names of those family members in English or in Spanish, and MyHeritage will use the global name translation in order to translate that name into the other languages and find those records for you. So if you're looking for Jacob Schmidt, which is written like this in Greek, Hebrew, even Spanish, with Jacob is not Jacob, is Jacobo. That will be the right spelling. Russian or Ukrainian, we will find it for you. Not only that, but also with all kind of similarities and soundings and even mistakes. For example, do you know how many ways of writing the name Alexander exist out there? Well, it doesn't matter what number you're thinking, you need to think on a higher number, okay? Because it may be Alejandro with J, it may be Alexandro with an X, or it may be any other different ways or mistakes that people actually search or write their names. So no worries. You write the name of the person in your language, you will receive records in any language, and we will back translate the name in the record, like in this case from Ukrainian, the name of my cousin Alexander, it's being transliterated into the inside the parentheses, and we know to tell you what the name of the person is. Now I will go back to the homepage just to let you know that from the very beginning, if you want to search on a specific category, you can do that just by looking and finding the right category, and we have a few that you can just scroll and find it, and by clicking on it, MyHeritage will perform the search only on that category. Okay, so photos, military, family trees, click over there, put the name of your person, and hopefully we will find it for you. One more thing on the homepage is that you need to scroll a little bit down in order to see the recently added collection. And as I said at the beginning, we keep publishing and updating this search engine almost on a daily basis. So every day is one collection more available for you. But this is not all, and this is really my secret to find the right records and the right collections. Because right there where it says view all, it will bring you to the collection catalog. And from there, you will be able to see all the collections from all over the world that MyHeritage has for you. You can come here also from the menu. Remember the research button that I showed you before? Well, now, instead of clicking, just put your mouse over the word research and a drop-down menu will appear with the option of the collection catalog. And it will bring you to this page where we list all the almost 7,000 or by now I think it's already 7,000 and change collections that we have for you. And you can sort them either by the number of records or the last updated or simply the collection name. If you ask me, I like to search or to sort by the last updated collection because that's the way I can see what is new at MyHeritage, as it was about 6 months ago, 7 months ago when I took this screenshot. But you can do as you like. Let me point out on the left side that you have the list of categories with the amount of collections that we have in each one. And same as in the results page, you can click on any category and see the list of subcategories or collections right there. But remember, today we are here because we are looking into Latin American and Spain records. Well, if you're looking for Spain, you will need to click on Europe. You already know that. But it will be the same as clicking in Latin America. MyHeritage is going to reduce the amount and the categories that we're showing you to that continent. The difference is that if you're looking for Spain records, you do Europe and then you look for Spain. If you're looking for Latin America, when you click on Latin America, you will find there Refine Further will take you to the list of countries with the amount of collections that we have in each of the countries. And you can already see, let me go back, that from this list, and this is a more up-to-date list, we have records from every country in Latin America: Mexico, Venezuela, Chile, Peru, Bolivia, Argentina, Bahamas, Barbados, Bolivia, Caribbean islands, and a lot more. Now, another way to find the collection that you are looking for is simply using the search collector keyword right there. And the reason that I'm bringing all this to your attention is because obviously I will not be able to talk about all the collections that MyHeritage has in all of those countries. So my idea is to give you the tools to find the right collection. And you may find a collection by a keyword, for example, baptism, or you can use directly the name of the country or even the name of the city or town that you are interested on. And if MyHeritage has it, we will show it to you right there. Now, as you notice, I use the word baptism, which is actually a very common practice in Latin American countries or in Spain as well. Very Catholic countries over there. The church has a presence all over, even in the smallest town. And they keep very good records. And even when you go back, like for example in Mexico for the 1500s over there, you will find that not necessarily only Catholics were registered or were baptized. Okay, I have found a lot of Jewish family in those records because the church was the entity that needed or was in charge of registering the birth. Okay, so don't get confused by that, but also look into those records. And by the way, we will bring you collections that at the beginning you may not understand why, but that is because the keyword that you used appeared also in the description of the collection. We may not have placed that specific word in the title. We still will be able to find the right records. One more way of filtering the collections and the records that we have is either by years or showing only those that have an image. And the reason for this is because we understand that we genealogists, we like to see the records with our own eyes, right? We don't trust anybody. And the years is very simple. If you're looking for your grandfather, probably the 1490s or the 1600s, it's not quite relevant. So you want to locate the century of your interest and probably bring less collections to your attention. Okay, so from now on, what I did was look for those countries that I mentioned we have. And of course, I couldn't do all of them in this presentation, but I wanted to bring you just a taste of what we have. And I wanted to start with Europe and with Spain because we have a lot of very interesting records from that country, as you can see, not only on the type of records, but also the years that they are covering and the specific areas, not just general country records, but also by the different municipalities that Spain has. Now, one collection that I consider was going to be crucial for all of you is the migration to the Americas. So I decided to bring that to your attention, mainly because, again, if you are in the U.S., and I know that a lot of people actually from Spain and from the U.S. are watching this live and probably will watch this as a recording, may have family that migrated from Spain to America between the 1880s and 1930s. We're talking about right between wars and before World War II, where a huge migration was going on there. Now, let me just mention here that every collection is also classified into different categories by country or by type, in this case, immigration and emigration records. And at the bottom of every collection, we will suggest you some related collections as well. And they could be related either because of that category or because of the country. Now, I am using, again, the most common last name in South America. This is like Smith, okay? But we just use Perez. And most of the Perez are written with a Z at the end. And this is a sample of those migration records. And you can already see that some of them are relatively new because it has like a new icon right there. And you will see that whenever there is an image, we will bring you a thumbnail of the image right there, and as you can see also by those images, those records could be very different. And the reason for that is because the years that they are covering are very wide. So the records that they were keeping in the 1930s were quite different from the earlier ones. So I choose the first one, Pedro Sordo Perez, just to show you what information we have. You can see his nationality, the birth year, date and place, the occupation, the last residence, and in this case, he came from Spain into Mexico, and you can see that he arrived in Veracruz on 1901 at the age of 54, and information about the register. But if you can see at the bottom of the screen, there is an image, and all what I need to do is to click on that image to bring it right from the archives in Spain to my screen with not one but two pictures of the person. In this case, I was very lucky, and all the other information that you will see on the record, the date, the places, and all the information about your relative. As expected, as I said, this is in Spanish, and you may be able to understand quite easily the record here, or may find some help from other persons to find it. Now, we have the 1895 census of Argentina right there. We also have the Chile electoral rolls, as you can see, a more up-to-date collection from the 2013. The Argentinian one is a collection that also has images and will tell you information about the person, the birth of the person, and the residence. You see here all what we know and what was transcribed. And we try also to tell you the information in the language that you're browsing. And in this case, I am browsing MyHeritage in English, but you can see also that it says over there information in the original language. So this is a woman, mujer. She is not married. She is soltera, and she is 35 years old. Also here, when you scroll down, you have the image that you can see and save to your records. The next country is Brazil, and as you can notice, I am just going by the alphabetical order. The Sao Paulo immigration cards, and we also have Rio de Janeiro immigration cards over there from years 900 to 1965, meaning covering both world wars, and collection that I actually like very much because you can search not only by the basic name, first name and last name, and the birth information, but also if you know when the person arrived to the country, you can use that to get better results. And the results are, again, here very different because of the different years. You're seeing samples of records from 1901 or 1922 and 1930s. Each time they use a different card. The information, though, is very much the same, and don't rely only on the information that you see written on the top, because this is what we use in order to find the right record. On the image, you will be able to see more information about this person that was not transcribed at the moment of the index. Another collection is the Costa Rica electoral rolls, and in this case we have a few years. And it's a very nice collection because it will tell you about people living in that place on a specific time, and more recent actually. This collection doesn't have images, but at least will tell you when your relatives were living and the area or even the streets where they were living, because in South America, pretty much as in any country of the world, you need to register with the electoral system, and you need to keep them up to date with your address in order to go to the electoral or to the election place where you put your votes. I don't think any country in Latin America has mail votes as in the U.S. You need to physically go and do the voting on the spot. Jamaica is the next place on the alphabet here, and I wanted to bring this collection to show you Church England parish registers as back from 1600 to the 1880, and this is a very old collection because Jamaica was part of the British colonies and they have very good records over there, and they recorded all the birth, marriage, and death that occurred in the island. So if you have a relative over there, you may find them in these records. And as I said before, it could be non-Catholic or non-church affiliate people, but the church was the one in charge of registering. So church records will include not only baptism or Christianizing, but also birth, marriage, and death or burial transcriptions or index. Peru, in this case, the Lima, which is capital, civil registration, again with a big span of years, 1874 to 1996. Very interesting collection that will give you birth, death, parents, and other relatives. This is all kind of civil registrations right there. And this is why we allow you to change and to add information while you are searching. Because if you're looking for a marriage record and you use the marriage fact over there, the results are going to be focused only on the marriage records there. We will not bring you birth or death records. So use those filters and use those keywords and facts to filter your records and being able to find your relatives. In this case, Rafael Perez, you have the father, you have the mother, you have the wife, Carmen Ceballos, and also the parents of the wife. So we're talking about 6 individuals, 2 generations, and a lot of information. Next in the roll is Uruguay, also with civil records. Unfortunately, this collection doesn't have images, but we will have a lot of information. And remember, I mentioned something about the name of the parents or even the last name of the person. Well, it's not uncommon for people in South America or in Latin America not to be registered with the father information, only with the mother right there. And yes, I know we are about to end our time, but I have to bring the Venezuelan voters list, and of course that I had to bring my own father registration right there, Sidney Horowitz, and you can see the information exactly where he was living when we were living over there, and the birth information, and a lot of other details. Now, very fast, just because I'm a little bit lazy and normally I don't search for records, let me tell you about the record matches that MyHeritage will bring you once you have a family tree. Those are the icons that will appear in every card, and then we will use the global name translation also on the record matches to bring you the right records, no matter in what language your tree or the records are. So as you can see, you too can discover your family very easily with MyHeritage. Just need to register, and you can do that for free. Then go to the search engine and hopefully start discovering your family history. Thank you very much, Marianne. Please, thanks, Jeff, on my name. I'm sorry, I don't think we have a lot of time for questions. But yes, there are the URLs over there if somebody need any answers.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. I'm sorry that we're not going to have time for Q&A, but we're going to have to get moving to our next presentation, which is starting in just a few minutes. But just a reminder that the webinar replay will be available at familytreewebinars.com starting early next week, because we've got 25 that we've got to process, so it's going to take us a little while. They'll be available for free for 7 days, and then after that, members will have unlimited access to them. We got to do a door prize before we finish, and it's a big door prize. So it's a 1-year MyHeritage Complete plan, which will give you access to all of these records. And this prize is going out to Israel Garcia. So congratulations, Israel. You have won this prize. I will be emailing you at some point with instructions on how you will get your prize. And that's it. Thank you, Daniel, so much for a great webinar. I learned a lot. And hopefully everyone will see you in the next webinar, starting in just a few minutes. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Daniel.
Bye-bye.
Bye.